Welcome to our Creative Entrepreneur Incubator Substack Live. I'm Beth Barany, your host, and also the main trainer and founder of Creative Entrepreneur Incubator. Today is with me Iman. I will introduce, Iman will introduce herself in a moment. Real quick, I just want to let you know that what we're about here is about helping creative folks who are probably already in their art, like a creative writer. We specialize in helping creative writers who want to have businesses helping other creative writers in whether a service or a product and that kind of thing. So thanks everyone for showing up. Please don't put any personal information in the chat, just FYI. Iman, I want to just let folks know this is my maybe third Substack Live for Creative Entrepreneur Incubator. So we're getting everything together here. And I will share a little bit more about how to stay engaged with us. Do subscribe to our Substack at Creative Entrepreneur Incubator. Iman, welcome. You're coming, I should say I'm in Oakland, California and near San Francisco, and you're coming from across the world. Do you want to say where you are and then introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm coming from Dubai. So yeah, 9 p.m. over here. Well, 15 minutes past 9 over here. So yeah.
Great.
And yes, my name is Iman. I'm writing a romantasy novel, and I have experience in administration, probably around like maybe 10, 15 years experience in terms of professional experience with administration, translation, also teaching. And so now I'm diving into the company that we're starting, which is called Sage Lantern Co., where I help creatives with their operations system. So I'm a creative operations strategist.
That's so great. And to let everyone know, Iman's been helping me in my business with my operations, and it's been really wonderful. So we're both creative people. I'm also a novelist, a working novelist. I have 12 books published and 5 books for writers, and I'm working on new material all the time. So both you and I juggle the creative work and running a business. So I thought, you came up with this topic, how to protect our creative capacity, and that's our topic for today. And can you tell us a little bit more? What do you mean by that?
Creative capacity. So I had, since you were just talking about both of us being creatives, I have this issue with myself as well. It's basically, people think that when you don't have time to write creatively or do your creative projects on the side, that it's because of lack of motivation, lack of discipline. And most of the time it could be something that is completely different. It could be something that has to do with the creative capacity because you're boggled down with everything else that's happening outside of your own project. So work, children, outside pressures, inside pressures, maybe sometimes even health issues, that you don't have that space in your mind to be able to focus on your creativity. So that's what I mean by creative capacity.
Mm-hmm. Right. Sometimes it feels like we have lots of space and like, oh, yay, today I can work on my story. And I've had time to work on all the other obligations. And other times it's like, oh no, the other obligations take precedence, or maybe we're clouded with stress. I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to work on a story, it's like a battery. Sometimes the battery feels really full, and sometimes the battery is like a little. And so I'm wondering if we could define capacity like that. It's like having the energy to do the creative work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not having that mental load.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and having a little mental load or a lot. And why do you think? I mean, creative entrepreneurs struggle with this, and before actually, we should define what we mean by creative entrepreneurs, because it's a broad term. And what do you think it means?
I mean, for me, creative entrepreneurs is basically anyone under the umbrella of a creative industry. So whether it's interior designer, literary arts, visual arts, cinematography, um, advertisement, marketing, um, playwriting, theater. I feel like all of that basically encompasses. I'm sure I've missed a couple, but I think all of that encompasses creativity.
Yeah, and so being a creative entrepreneur, you do something creative, usually in the field somewhere of the arts, and it's connected to making money, to running a business.
Yes.
Yeah. And so why do you think creative entrepreneurs struggle with having capacity to do their creative work?
I feel like for the most part, this might happen with people that are just starting off. For the most part, a lot of creatives try to do this on their own in the sense that, okay, well, I want to write a book or I want to be a painter, but they don't think about everything that encompasses that. When you're first starting with your own passion, you think that's all you have to do, and then you realize, oh my god, okay, so now I have to think about invoicing. Now I have to think about what software I need to use for invoicing. Now I have to think about clients. I have to think about where I can put all my client information. I have to think about marketing. I have to think about how to reach out to people, social media. So it's a lot of things that are coming at you, where that's why I meant before about mental load. I feel like that really takes precedence when it comes to that. And that's how I think sometimes some people might struggle with that.
Yeah, especially if you don't realize, like, I mean, I didn't realize when I started my business as a writing coach how much all of that business stuff I had to do, and also how much I had to learn as well. And at the beginning, I wasn't really putting time into my creative work, and so then I was unhappy because I wasn't doing creative work. So it took me a few years to find basically I don't want to say balance, because it's not a balancing act. It's more like how to prioritize what when with the creative work and with the business. So I can share more about my story, but how do you know, how can you, in your position as an operations person, tell when a creative entrepreneur needs a system or needs to delegate something, or maybe decides, hey, you know what, take this off your plate. You don't need to do this. So how do you, in your role as an operations person, help a creative entrepreneur figure that out? What signs are you looking for?
So I think that for them, actually, they should be asking themselves 3 questions.
Okay.
And, it's kind of like, does this need to happen? And then also, like, does this need to be repeatedly? And do I need to be the one that has to do it? So they should be asking themselves those 3 questions. If it's something that, in terms of does it need to happen, if it's something that isn't really beneficial to their business or to the clients, their mental health as a whole, then that's probably something that they don't need. And then, of course, if it happens repeatedly, then that's, of course, something that they need to start thinking about in terms of systemizing it, so that they don't have to keep trying to repeat the whole process themselves. And that's where I'd be able to help them with that. And then when it comes to, like, do I need to do this on my own? You can see if there are any tasks that need to be delegated. If there's something that doesn't require your own personal experience in terms of professional experience, then that would be possibly a good time for you to start thinking about getting outside help.
That's great. Let's use me as an example. Like, spoiler alert, Iman helps me with this already. So scheduling. I have lots of conversations with people that need to be scheduled. And so to answer the first question, does this need to happen? Well, yes, I need to schedule these calls, because people are like, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yes. Okay. When we do it, okay, back and forth to schedule, and I've stopped using a schedule tool. That there's a reason for that, because I block off a lot of time on my calendar for projects. So yes, scheduling needs to happen. Does this happen repeatedly? Yes. I'm repeatedly needing to make appointments with people and put them on the calendar so we can talk. Am I the one that has to do it? This was a big aha for me, realizing I can give you access to my calendar and you can schedule it. And all I have to do is bring you into the email conversation.
Yeah.
and give you access to my calendar. So, I mean, that's just an example. But it took me a while to even ask you for help. Do you remember?
Mhm.
Feels
Yeah.
like it took a while to delegate this to you. Um, I
But
don't
I do
know if you,
remember you were really excited when I told you that I love scheduling. You're like, "Oh my God, great." Yes.
yeah, and that was helpful to me because I didn't really like it at all. It was a big friction in my business, and that fact that you love it. So, uh, I don't think this is necessarily, it's not on our little prep questionnaire, but I want you to tell us what are the tasks that you love to do, because I'm like, oh, what a relief you love scheduling. Because it's actually of all my business tasks up there with one of the top ones that I dislike the most, even though I really want to talk to people. So, yeah, what else are you excited about doing, in your operations hat?
I think for me, anything that is visual is really intriguing and really exciting to me. So that's why when it comes to like for you scheduling, you use Google Calendar and the way that you color it all is always like really, really exciting for me when I see it. I'm like, oh my God, look at all those pretty colors. I don't know why. But yeah.
Yes.
And so I feel like also what I'm doing right now in terms of creating own personal dashboards, operation systems, and I'm currently using Google Sheets because I know that it's a lot easier. It's much more universal. I don't really have to have like some sort of training program so that people can figure it out on their own, and it's a lot less overwhelming. Just creating all of that also really excites me because it's also color palettes and coordination and making sure that everything is accessible and everything is in one spot. So it gives less mental load to the person who's using it. And so that also really intrigues me and really excites me. Um, I will say, when I do have to learn something new, I'm really excited to learn something new, but at the same time, I do feel a little bit of imposter syndrome when I'm first starting to learn it. But I mean, for the most part, it's always like, yes, I really want to learn how to do this and implement that. And I feel like with a lot of creators, we always kind of put this pressure on ourselves that we think that we are worse or that we're not as talented as we actually are. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's so great that you love the colorful, building the dashboards. And what is some of the invisible work that you've noticed creative entrepreneurs are doing that seem to take so much time and energy, but maybe they don't realize, like maybe it's a drain on them. I mean, we could say scheduling is one, but that's actually something I realized. I didn't realize I could delegate it, but maybe there's some other things that you've noticed in working with other creative entrepreneurs that they keep doing, but they really is a drain for them.
Yeah. So since we are talking about the whole encompass of creative entrepreneurs, every person has specific tasks and they're all customized to them and their own business. So um, I guess I would have to be a little bit general in the sense that it
Well,
might be.
wait, sorry to jump in there, but why don't you think of a specific example for me or someone else that you've worked with?
um, Yeah, because with you guys, it has been like the people that I've been working with so far have mostly been book coaches and writers such as yourself.
Mhm.
Um, I would say maybe in terms of emails, also a lot. I've noticed that with a lot of people with creatives, it's really specific to like reminders, like please remind me to do this, please remind me to do that. I feel like there are a lot of people who are possibly maybe well, I don't want to say a lot of people, but I mean with the people that I've worked with in terms of administration and helping delegate things, I've noticed that there isn't a lot of oh my goodness, what's the word, there isn't a sense of urgency.
Mhm.
And I feel like for me, it's always there. Like that sense of urgency is always there. So
Mhm.
I do feel like a lot of people might require that, but are maybe possibly lacking that. So reminders, I think, falls under that category. Um, Also, I would say maybe also in terms of editorial, which is what I'm helping you with, your blog posts and your transcripts for your podcast.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of, yeah, it's just a lot of those things. Invoicing, I'm not helping you with that, but I am helping you kind of like set up a system for that and help you with reminders in terms of that. So yeah,
Mhm.
really, it's across the gambit. It's across the board.
Yeah, I think a hallmark of creative people is that we have a ton of ideas,
Yeah.
and I put my ideas on this notebook. I have little tracking lists, and I use Notion, but still, it's like nothing is stable. Like it's like things are bubbling up all the time. So
Yeah.
that's why having someone like you, who I get to meet with regularly, and will say, um, and goes and you get to hold the list. I don't have to hold the list. You can hold the list. And I think as creative people, having someone else hold the to-do list is really, really helpful, because my job is to focus on either the big picture of running a business or the deep dive creative work, often a combination of both. And to have to hold the to-do list is essentially what I see you've been doing. So, and I think that is often invisible for creative people, because as creatives, we need to be able to dive deep into the creative work or to the deep work we do with clients. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious. So you're a writer, and how has that influenced the way you approach systems and operations for other creative people that you work with?
I feel like because I am a writer, I am very detail oriented. I'm like, especially, and I've noticed this much more since I moved over to the Middle East because English is not their first language. And for a lot of people, you have, of course, it's mostly a country full of expats, and so yeah, like I said, most of the population, English is like their second language. So sometimes when I go on websites and things like that, I do notice like grammatical errors and things like that. And I've noticed that since I've moved over here, I've been much more laser focused on those sorts of things. And I feel like that may have even enhanced my detail oriented skills. So
Mhm.
I bring those to the table. Yeah.
That's really great. Well, I know I brought you on initially as editorial for the
Yeah.
blog, for Writers Fun Zone, and also for the podcast, How to Write the Future. And I right away I had confidence in your level of detail oriented awareness, for all of that. Yeah, and I mean it's a job that requires that. So that's really wonderful. So you have launched this company, Sage Lantern, with a partner, and you're still also developing your creative work. So what are you learning these days about juggling these two things of your creative work and getting a business up and running?
Um, yeah, that is it's a lot more than you expect, which as we mentioned before, it's how a lot of people start their thing, a painter really loves to paint and they want to start out as a business and then they realize they have all these other things to contend with. So it's the same thing. It is the same thing with me. And so I'm also trying to figure out how I can carve out that space to just focus on my creativity. And with, so many other things happening right now, I just feel like it's been really difficult because I do feel I have that mental load right now. Um, but yeah, I do want to be able to balance that out soon in the next couple of days where I can start giving more energy towards my creativity and maybe map out,
Mhm.
which is where which is part of the administration and the operations and organization thing anyway, map out a schedule
Yeah.
on what I should be working on that has to do with my business and then schedule time for my writing, which is what you do. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Exactly. I put writing, for me, I when I was figuring this out, I asked myself, what is the time of day that works, where my energy is the best for writing. And I looked back into the past where, because of necessity, when I had a day job, I would write during my lunch break. And then I thought back to another time when I was working on a novel, and I would go to the cafe, I would spend my time journaling, I would have lunch, and then I would write. And so I just noticed all this unconscious patterning that I did around writing. And I noticed, oh, my favorite time to write is right after lunch. Okay, so that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that after lunch, I write. And also for me, a big part of this is walking. So walking somewhere to then sit down and write. Like I would walk to the car, or I'd walk to one of my jobs, I was near the Oakland estuary, the water. So I walk to the water and sit on a bench and write, or walk to the cafe and write. So I consciously built that into my daily life. So for anyone watching, wondering how to juggle creative business stuff and their creative life, their creative work, ask yourself, what's the best time of day for you? Like for you, Iman, what's the best time of day for you to, like, if you could wave a magic wand and it didn't matter what else you were doing, when would you be doing your writing?
I'm a night owl, so I tend to write best at night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually when I feel my most creative self coming out.
Yeah.
Daytime, I just can't. I just can't do it.
Right.
Like I've had these people that wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning to write. I'm like, I wish I could do that, but it's not me.
No, we're going to bed at 4 a.m. I too am a night owl generally. So great. So you could work on your business during the day, and then in the evenings, after dinner, it sounds like you could work on your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So for those of you who are here with us live, you're welcome to put into the chat, what is your creative business? How do you identify as a creative entrepreneur? What are you working on? Who do you serve? And so, Iman, tell us a little bit about who are the kind of people that you do work with and want to work with, and how can people get in touch with you?
So I am currently working mostly with people in the literary arts, book coaches that are writers. And I'm open to working with anyone, as we mentioned before, across the board when it comes to creativity. And they can always email at sagelanternco@gmail.com.
Great. You want to put it in the chat?
Yes.
And also go ahead and put your website in the chat, Sage Lantern Co. or sagelanternco.com, right? Excuse me.
Yes.
So people can reach you, sagelanternco@gmail.com, or they could go directly to your website, sagelanternco.com. And you have a sign-up form or a way that people can reach you via the website also to be in touch with you, right?
Yeah, so on the website, there's a contact form where they can just go reach out to us and send us a message. Or like I said, you can send us an email. And I'm trying to see if there was. No, I was gonna say I thought that there was something else, but I think we're still working on it. So yeah, I don't think it's ready.
We're still working on things.
Yes. I also send my Substack.
Yes, send your Substack. And I noticed you're also on LinkedIn and Instagram. So people can find you on LinkedIn and Instagram as well.
Yes.
And then they can also reach out to you to schedule a call. And do you want to tell us give us a little bit more detail about what is Sage Lantern Co? Because I know it's you and your partner in the business. Tell us maybe a little bit about, we have a few minutes left. Why did you two decide to create a business? I mean, I know a lot about it, but folks listening, they may not know anything about it. So tell us a little bit more about the business. And when people come to the website, what are they going to see? And tell us a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm just putting in my LinkedIn as well. So
great.
Sorry. In terms of Sage Lantern, so basically what it is that we do, as we were talking a little bit previously, we cater to creatives, creative founders, creative entrepreneurs, and I help with the operations systems. So I help create operation systems so that our client can keep everything in one space, whether it has to do with, as we mentioned before, invoicing, in terms of their own clients, outreach, social media tracking, anything that has to do with the back-end systems of their business. I have started with Notion, and I know that some people absolutely are fine with Notion, but for those that aren't, as I mentioned before, too, Google Sheets is also a way that I'm creating these systems that might be more beneficial for some people. And so that's what I do. I also help kind of with delegation. So if you have any, if you're looking for anyone to hire temporarily in terms of specific tasks, then I can help look for those people for you, and I can also help train them for you if for whatever reason they're just not are at no, sorry, they're not at that capacity. And then also with the systems, I help keep them in check as well too. So obviously we have a couple of packages that you can always check out on our website, but some of them do include me kind of keeping an eye out on that system because of course, since it's a system, technology, AI, sometimes it might crash, sometimes it may not work. And so I help with that as well. And my partner, she helps with brand storytelling. So I help with the behind the scenes, and she helps with the visibility of the company. So
That's great. That's a really lovely partnership. And how, what would you say in your life before you started this business prepared you for being able to do systems? I mean, were you always interested in being organized? Did you have some previous work in different domains that prepared you? Like, I'm just curious, like how you came to this.
So yeah, I've been doing administration for a really long time. Almost all my jobs have had to do with some sort of administration operations. And so that's been more than, goodness, like 15 years. Yeah, 15 years. But I've also taught, I was also an English teacher. I've also been a translator. I have my degree in linguistics. And so, also comes with words. So words are a big passion for me, words and language. But I feel like up until I actually started to write, I was more organized in the workspace and not so much at home. And now that I've started to write, I have like all my notes in specific binders, folders, so that I can just pick them out. Like I have them right here, right next to me, just pick them out and I know where everything goes. And in terms of the systems, I mean, we're coming up with the age of AI now. And so I'm also realizing that that can be a beneficial tool. And I was just trying to see how I could merge those two together because I do know right now I was working specifically to get people like you as a client only in like a virtual assistant capacity. And I noticed a lot of virtual assistants also help with social media, which is not my forte. So I started to wonder to myself, how can I kind of elevate myself, differentiate myself from my competitors? And so, yeah, that's where AI and systems came in.
Yeah. So you will build systems for people using AI based on like my criteria, for example.
Yeah. So to a certain point, I use a little bit of ChatGPT and I use Claude. But for example, like right now, I'm working. Well, I'm realizing my own business needs to have a system. So I'm doing a system for my own business as well. And so that's what I'm doing for me and my partner right now. We're starting with a relationship blog because my main priority right now is outreach. And so I am using ChatGPT and a little bit of Claude to help me with that. But I'm realizing it also needs a human touch, So although the relationship blog, I got it as good as I could with Claude and ChatGPT, it's still not 100%. And so I need to finish tweaking all that stuff myself by hand. So
yeah, right. Human in the loop. Absolutely. Great. So this is the end of our interview. I want to encourage folks to check out Iman's business, sagelanternco.com. If you have any questions about organization, administration behind the scenes, but also check out the other offerings at Sage Lantern, brand visibility. And if you're curious to know more about creative entrepreneurship and what we're doing here, I recommend that you start with our quiz. And I'm putting the link in the chat, but it's right now, actually, if you go to creativeentrepreneurincubAtor.com, it should redirect. Double check, make sure that's working. Yeah. So if you go to creativeentrepreneurincubAtor.com, you'll be redirected to our quiz, a lovely quiz on how do you discover your creative business style. We all approach our creative businesses differently. And this is a fun short quiz that my partner in this business, Gala, put together for us. Do you have any? What's that?
And it changes, right? I feel like the first time I took it, I had one result. I feel like the second time I took it, I had another result. So I think I might take it again and see what result I get.
Yeah. Oh, do and come back and let us know. If you go ahead and those of you listening or listening on the replay, take the quiz and post into the chat. What was your creative business style quiz? And what do you think about it? What questions do you have about it? And what questions do you have about running your business as a creative? We're here doing Substack Lives, and we also have our quiz, and we have a entrepreneurship apprenticeship training coming next year, a 12-week training that Iman took last year that helps you get your business up and running. So stay tuned for that. Iman, do you have any last tips or encouragement or anything you want to let people know about being organized in their creative business? Anything you can leave us with?
I mean, I would say basically in terms of like the questions that I mentioned before, definitely keep those in mind for yourself in terms of like, does this need to happen? Does this happen repeatedly? And am I the one to do it? And if you're realizing that you need more information when it comes to any of those questions, more specifically, does this happen repeatedly? Then you can always absolutely reach out.
That's great. Absolutely. Get support from Iman. Well, thank you so much, Iman, for being my guest today on our Creative Entrepreneur Incubator Live. And happy creating, everyone. And we'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao. You're welcome, Ron. Thank you. Bye-bye.